We're snorting cap rates and shooting up cash flow here at Deal Junkies.
Welcome back to Deal Junkies. This is your host, Mike Nuss. I'm here with Trevor Howard, Dane McKinney, and a very special guest, Jaryn Montgomery.
Hello?
Is that how Gabe does it?
Yeah, kind of.
God, we really need Gabe back.
Radio.
We really need Gabe. Gabe, you can't leave again. You can't get sick. We can't do an intro without you.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, this is episode number 2 with Jaryn. This is great. So we set the stage. You bought a lot of real estate. You're really excited about life. You started some more partnerships. Your vision's growing. But you want to make more money. You feel like you're going slow. That's what you kind of get in today is like they want to do a coaching episode. I don't know why. They think you want to be coached.
I'll take any mentorship.
Okay, so you're open to coaching.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first and foremost is like don't hire a coach if you're not open to coaching. For anyone out there that is thinking about hiring a coach, like some things I see so much is people will pay a coach and they will never do anything. Yeah. So what are you excited about right now? Out of all your projects, what's got you the most excited?
Probably looking for more real estate to buy.
So the acquisition side of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I think all of it in the whole, really. I just enjoy buying it. I enjoy remodeling.
How long does it feel good after you close a deal?
Depends on the deal. Pheasant felt really good. And then it kind of got drug out by the city, so it didn't feel so good. But I know once we start building, it's going to feel really good again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have phases.
Yeah, State Street felt super cool to structure a deal like that, thanks to Trevor. And then it's fun to remodel a house. I enjoy it because I get creative with my stuff a little bit. Give me some freedom to do what I want, so I like that aspect of it.
He's trying to become Instagram famous or Pinterest famous. So he makes his house really cute.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, he does.
No.
He does.
I use a term that I'm not going to say on here for Pinterest, and I think it's funny.
Okay.
But
He calls it a Pinterest wet dream.
Well, now it's
Right?
out there. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. He made a cute little mailbox. He does I'm impressed by what he does in the vision on the house because I look at a house and I'm like, how much money does this make? I don't care what it looks like.
Yeah.
And he's like doing all these paint things in the yard and landscaping and making his own custom mailboxes and front trim
You like
and
do
all
like
that stuff.
vision boards and design stuff?
No. I
Well,
just
he
design it
opens
as I
Pinterest
go,
and-
but like this has like a little vestibule covered front porch, front door area. And
Yeah.
so I was like, well, I could do regular siding or I could go get some cedar and put it on there and stain it. So it kind of gives it an extra pop. And then I did the mailbox.
Yeah,
the
he's a
same thing.
contractor. He actually wants his shit to look good. He doesn't. He has more than just financials behind it.
Yep.
Okay, how many active projects do you have going on right now?
For work or for real estate?
Real estate.
Real estate, just the State Street.
Okay.
And then obviously Pheasant, but that's more of just paperwork between architects.
So the single family house that you bought.
Yep.
Okay, so you don't have anything overwhelming right now from a real estate standpoint.
Well, clarify though. I think it's important to balance that with work because that.
Oh, I wasn't
that
going to glance over that.
drastically- Well, no, I just mean it limits the time though. And
That's
so
exactly what I was
since
going to
there's
ask. So how many
okay.
hours are you working a week of work?
Chad's listening, so you better be careful here.
So probably on average like 35 to 40.
Okay,
Depends
so
on the
you're-
week. and
you're
how many
full-time-
projects.
Full-time work, what's your, like, is it early in the morning, you're off early in the afternoon, is it every day, 10-hour days, 20-hour, what's it like?
It really depends on the day.
Okay.
Usually, like a standard day would be 7:30 to 3:30.
Okay. Can you accept interruptions, phone calls, jump on deals?
Yep.
Property management BS. Okay. So you've got one of the very nice things that we love in real estate, which is called money in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So you have flexibility with the way your life is structured, which is probably the most important thing. So people that like want to get into real estate, just having the ability to take distractions during the day is super way to be efficient and getting traction. Okay, so you have that, which is amazing. Are you out of money? You fully out of money? You have more money? You got some
No.
HELOC left?
Yeah, and then we have some money left over from the State Street deal that we'll put aside for reserves.
Okay.
To cover the other properties too.
Okay.
But not totally out of money, but don't have a lot of money to play with.
Okay. Does that matter?
Not a lot, but I have resources that I feel like I could be using better to
Okay.
make partners and myself more money.
OPMs. You have a.
Yep.
Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
And you've talked about flipping. Have you flipped houses, or it's mostly burrs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just burrs.
So burrs, but specifically what I love, this is why we get along. Burrs with land plays that you can turn into land bank and then expand upon.
Yep.
Okay. So do you want to flip a house? Is that like on your radar now?
I think it's appealing because you can make some quick cash if you do it right.
Okay. Is that why you're talking about it? I'm curious
Yeah.
why the words come up so many times.
Yeah. Well, obviously, everyone likes to have money. They can go buy stuff that they want.
Okay. So
Yeah.
flipping houses, you want another business so you can make more cash?
Yeah, I would say so.
He knows what it is. Most people would say it's not a business. It's flipping a house.
Yeah, definitely a business.
How are you guys working together now? So let's kind of get into, you were doing everything by yourself, and then so by yourself, then in a partnership with Dad. Now you've done partnerships with Trevor and Dane.
Yep.
What are the discussions been like with your partnership? Where is that going?
So the one with my dad is a little different. He's more conservative. He doesn't want to buy a bunch of properties
Yep.
all the time. And so he partners on deals where he doesn't have to put a lot of time into them, where I can kind of take over, do that aspect of it, because he runs the company day to day, so he doesn't have a bunch of time. And also, if he doesn't have to put a bunch of resources into it, and I can take over that part too. So
Your dad's not a partner in the long haul.
yeah, kind of, yeah.
Sorry, Chad.
Sorry, Chad. Boy, I can't wait to meet him one day. He's like
So
judgy dude.
he wants to buy a property once a quarter, once every other quarter ish.
He's
Super conservative.
yeah, he's not gonna scratch your deal junkie itch is not getting scratched by that partnership.
No.
So you need to either move on your own, or you need to then create other partnerships.
Yeah, which I've looked at some deals on doing on my own. None of them have worked out yet, but and then I have the partnership with Dane and Trevor.
So are you saying deals that you're looking at doing on your own are different than the types of deals you're talking about or looking at doing in a partnership?
Well, their goals are a little different from mine right now. I'd say they're kind of a couple steps ahead of me in terms of multifamily stuff. Just because they redefine their buy box, so they're only buying 10 units and up right now.
Your ego's getting pretty big. I'm way far ahead of you. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
he's
I'm
way
just
far
kidding.
ahead of me. He only wants 10 units and up,
Wait,
and I can't afford that.
Did
so.
Trevor just say my ego's getting pretty big, or did he say your ego's getting pretty big?
No,
Yeah.
his, Jaren's.
Okay, so then why are you guys going to partner if your goals aren't aligned?
We're not. Sorry, Jaryn, we're not partnering anymore.
Yeah,
Are these guys trying to force you down a road that you're not necessarily wanting to go down?
no.
Okay, that's good.
No, I think we just find deals that make sense for me,
Okay.
and then deals that we work on together. Like Hermiston was kind of unique because I sent it to them, and they're like, well, Trevor's like, that's a stupid deal. And then he called the broker and was like, actually, this is a sick deal.
He said those exact words too, didn't he?
He's like, why didn't we look at this sooner? And I was like, I don't know. I tried telling you about it. And so that one was different because I found the money. He structured the deal. Him and Dane structured the deal. And then I kind of manage it. Let's wrap
Okay,
it up.
so your partnership is an opportunistic partnership based on an opportunity that fits a certain box that you guys are looking at doing. Is that a correct assumption?
Our partnership with Jaryn, I would say Jaren's probably not buying that many deals with us for the next.
Okay, so you're not
Bit of time.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think that there will be other opportunities that are.
We'll buy deals with Jaryn in the future at some
Yeah.
point, but for the time being, what we are buying and what he is doing is two different things right
Okay.
now.
So you guys are working together on the Vesta Home Solutions or Vesta Solutions, like as a business type relationship. Not
We're helping advise him and help him scale and do whatever he wants to do, but
Yep.
it's not the same as what we're
Okay.
doing.
So you're not then. What type of deals do you believe you should be sending him right now?
Trevor, you're the resi guy.
Well, I don't believe any because he won't fill out his application all the way and get pre-approved again.
That's a
So
lie.
I'm punishing him and not sending him anything until he finishes that.
Oh.
I just got pre-approved for a DSCR yesterday. So.
See how you do when you take the phone away, then the after.
So what I'm looking for in Jaryn, and this is different than maybe what he wants. I'm looking for deals for Jaryn where he can go raise money for it because he's broke and he has none. Sorry, I like to be mean to Jaryn. He's my good friend now. Me and Jaryn talk a lot of shit to each other. I'm gonna sound really mean on these podcasts. Man.
Yes.
Trevor talks to everyone.
Using the remaining liquid assets on a deal is
So the rest of the
smartest
people I
move.
don't know, I'll be nice to you if we talk to Jaryn, though. I like to be harder on him. He can take it. But so for stuff we're finding for Jaryn, I like stuff that he can add value to because he has a unique skill set. We can structure it creatively because he doesn't have a ton of money on the front end and put him in there. Or if there's heavy value add, he can go find the money elsewhere from other people and burr it or sell it or do something there. So I like for him right now, probably up to like 8 units is reasonable for him to do or so. You could do bigger if he goes and pulls more pieces in. And like we would partner with him on like a big deal, right? If he had it or something. But for the small plex stuff, like I think he has a unique value add just like that pheasant house, and you can go repeat that many times with not that much money, start building, scaling. My biggest worry for Jaryn is he wants to go too quickly, not too quickly necessarily, but too aggressively, and making the same mistakes I made of not watching your cash flow close enough, and then you get stressed out with that over time and stop buying deals. Versus if you manage it a little better on the front end, I think you can actually scale faster
by not trying to go so
by not only having the ego metric of I'm trying to buy deals just to buy deals.
It's a good metric not to have.
To clarify too, like the reason we wouldn't be buying deals with him isn't because we don't like buying deals. It's because every deal that we're finding him, he doesn't need us for anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And like even for Hermiston, like that one made sense because it was a funky one. But at the end of the day, like you didn't really need us. Like we could have just structured it for you and brokered it to you. But from a safety perspective, that was a big deal. It was in a market that you didn't know, and you just wanted the blanket. Yeah. Like it's nice to have partners in that scenario. Is my take on it.
Well, no, and this is organic, right? And this is what I love. And kind of while I'm asking these questions is to get more into like, so what are you doing where you're going? Because you've created a relationship and a partnership came off of that. But you move and grow, and you don't get stuck with one thing. And I think people think like a partnership, this is my partner and we're doing everything. And what I've seen is that's not flexible. It's not great. Life changes. Look at it as we have a partnership for this thing, but you're going to have different skill sets. You're going to meet different people, and what you're good at, you like design. That's what I'm hearing. You understand the contracting. So development, that was something that Dane said the other day. Gabe, I call you have way too much hair. I
appreciate that.
Gabe.
Oh, I don't appreciate that.
Just putting off this like real estate genius persona that I got confused with Gabe.
I don't think me and Gabe bring that to any of our partnerships.
So
just like talking to us.
You talked about starting a development wing. Is that like on your focus then? Is you do want to do land plays?
I think not development completely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go build subdivisions right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think simple stuff like pheasant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not really simple, but
so plays that you can get an existing structure, is that a component that you need to have as a requirement on your property?
No, and
Okay.
I think I'm learning that right now that I don't have to have the house.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really want to get into development's tricky, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to have the experience and you have to have the money to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting because first off, Trevor put a huge ceiling on you. He's moving too fast.
Yeah, that's a weird thing.
It was really weird coming from Trevor with the
Yeah.
ceiling that he put on you. I'm curious why you actually answered the question the way you did. So the reason I thought that an existing structure makes sense for you is because exactly what Trevor kind of said, which is not getting ahead of your skis, making sure you have cash management standpoint. And it's the same mindset of you don't want to get into big developments. So you're talking subdivisions.
Yeah.
But you're innately saying that because it's a long runway based on the conversation we had the other night. You understand there's a difference between a long runway to capital and development and the difference between a short runway, flipping, and a middle road, which involves existing structures, flipping, rehab, land divisions, and then a phase 2 or phase 3 of development.
Yep.
And so that's where I from hearing what I'm hearing from a skill set standpoint, what you like to do, what your experience has been, the people that you have in your court, that does make sense.
Yeah.
Now, you said that you didn't feel like you were tapping into your resources. Can you kind of start talking about the other resources that you think you can bring to the table for this next phase of you? Or you want to start bringing to the table?
Yeah, I think I have some people that have money in our industry and keep asking me to partner with them on deals. And I feel like I could, but I'm not focused on that, and so I'm not finding those deals.
Okay.
And I feel like I need to head that direction because they're just sitting on the table right now.
Yeah, you're in between deals. You're in
Yeah.
between projects. So you bought State Street. Probably doesn't take any much more of your time now. It's going under construction, but are you swinging
It's
a
almost
hammer?
it's almost done.
It's almost done.
Yeah.
Did you swing a hammer or did you just
Nope,
manage? Okay.
Just manage.
Great. So after purchase, you didn't do much.
Nope.
So why are you not looking for another deal?
I am.
Okay. Are
We
you
are, yeah.
aggressively looking for another deal?
I think so, kind of. Not really. I don't-
Trevor shook his head no. He's calling you out right now.
I mean, I would say, like, loosely, you were worried about finishing those projects and being on pause for a second, though, for a minute. You wanted to get everything on board.
Yeah, I guess I just don't know what type of deal I should be aggressively looking for right now. So I'm loosely looking at deals, but I'm not aggressively looking at this buy box.
So that's what we need your help with, Mike, coaching him right here. He's trying to figure out what he does going forward into the future, because you're trying to do two things in life. One is buy more deals, and then you're thinking you need to make more money in your day-to-day life too.
Correct.
So he's trying to figure out how to do both of those things.
Well, your skill set uniquely qualifies for what I do, and I really enjoy it. Like, I don't want to project what I do onto you, but you're uniquely qualified for it. So you can create a significant amount of equity by the right acquisition of the right development play. And if you've got capital partners, and specifically capital partners that don't need a return on that money in the form of cash flow, that is ideally suited for development plays. And the nice thing about then structures on big lots is you can phase things over a capital structure standpoint that covers a longer period of time that involves capital expense, capital return, capital expense, capital return. And so you can then go target properties that meet those resources. And it sounds like you have every one of those types of resources, which now if you're using the right money partner, completely depends on your capital partner and your structure in that, you don't get over your skis of what Trevor's concern was, right?
Yeah.
So that it's good to have like bumpers in your alley, like don't go too far this way and too far this way, but then just understand how your resources and how you use them and mitigate them, right?
Yeah.
So like that isn't a concern if they're the capital partner. They've, whether it's all cash, whether it's leveraged, if they're bringing all the liquidity and you're focused on what you do best, that's an excellent partnership. And so I'd focus on that partner that is more wanting less skin in the game from you from a capital standpoint, so you're not having to worry about that, and more a expertise skill set from you based on your track record.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then specifically, you can look at single family homes. The way I look at it is, and it's probably somewhat similar down here in Salem, is the single family homes, they just don't have the scale to make sense as rentals. So the single family homes get sold. The 2 to 4 unit stuff is really great to create tons of equity on because it's owner occupied essentially financing, and so your cap rates are the lowest, and so your dollar per creation is the highest return. So now you work in an asset class that can get easier for you to get loans on, bigger spreads and valuations, and then just specifically find those properties in the areas you want to develop in the zones you want to develop in that all have excess land. And so now you're just focused on, okay, this is not as much on the strategy as, well, where?
Yeah.
And we actually live pretty close to each other. What I like to do is I like to actually be in the neighborhoods I want. Like, I want to work and develop in neighborhoods I want to be in.
Yeah.
So I hate being in the neighborhood. Like, I own some properties in neighborhoods I don't like, and I just hate owning them. But I have a lot of properties in a consolidated area of parts of town I really enjoy being with. And so guess what? My relationships, my all people in that same area. So I know the other properties that are going on. I know what's going on. I know what my competition's doing. Now you start hunting with a spear gun for your opportunities rather than a net.
Yeah.
You do both, but you're just now focused for, these are the projects that I want. And what I'm talking about is just more alignment, more vision, more narrowed. And the more narrowed you get, the faster and the more action you'll want to take. So I would start kind of by that, is identifying where do you want to be, where do you want to work, and then identify, okay, these are all the properties in those areas that do that, and get in touch with those homeowners.
So to summarize, you're thinking development route for him.
Well, I think it's a combination of small scale development with BRRRR and flipping. So it's a mix of all three, but that starts with an acquisition strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And so there needs to be an acquisition piece to it. And so that's kind of what I would add to your life, is how do you now manage that part of the campaign? Or then you're looking at all these from a listed property standpoint. So what Trevor Vesta can do, and Trevor and Dane is now, well, you're the residential side. He's not going to look at this stuff. Maybe you're on the commercial side. You're like, hey, here's something that's got extra land. We don't like it because the cap rate's too low. But since you guys have this, maybe we can. But for the most part, Trevor can find anything that's on the market that kind of meets these criteria. And then he can just see if they can turn them into some type of seller financing deal or whatever they can do to make those numbers make sense.
Mm-hmm.
In Portland, these types of properties have significant demand, so we go off market for them for the most part. I don't know if that's like that down here in Salem yet. When you talk about your capital partner structure, part of the value you bring, in my mind, is the acquisition side of it. So the better you do that front end, the more equity the more equity you can create, which just makes your magnet stronger, that then makes your capital partner a better partner because they're more secure and tied into what you're doing. That's kind of my thought process on that. You said you like acquisition, so do you like negotiation, or do you just like looking at properties and underwriting them?
I just like looking at deals and seeing how they would work, seeing what the exit strategy would be.
So it's more of an underwriting thing than you like meeting with sellers and inspecting properties and walking through them.
Yeah, I like doing walkthroughs.
Yeah. After they're in contract, or do you
seeing what I can do to them? It kind of depends, I guess. But I like walking a property and seeing what I can add to it.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I don't know that it's on the acquisition side. It's not even the underwriting.
No, I'm really bad at math. I hate math.
It's not even that you could do it, but you just leave it to us, and that's like a part of the partnership or part of the relationship, I guess, rather. But you really enjoy the vision side of it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like, no, this is what I could turn this into. Can I make this pencil? And that's where it comes back to us. Like,
here's how I would actually reverse engineer this is you have a good reputation in town already. I would, instead of looking for properties, I'd look for owners. I'd identify all the owners that own what you like, and then use your reputation. And now, instead of calling 1,000 property owners because of these properties, now you're calling 10 property owners that own these things. You're like, hey, this is what I do. You own 5 of these types of properties. Here's how I think I can add value to you. And then just build relationship over a 3-year period of time. So now you're going to lunches, you're going to coffee, you're not cold calling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now you're just specifically making relationships based on people who are going to pass down what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Do you think you can wait 3 years to do something?
Yeah. If I'm doing something in the...
Well, that's the beauty of having a lot of resources. You don't have to wait, right? So what I just described is like a 10-year timeline to now retire based off of what you just developed with that style.
Yeah.
Well, you can flip a house. You can go buy a rental. You can get this seller carry deal. You can go do all those other things because you have enough resources and relationships to get it done.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the other thing is like, if you do want to do this model, you have to do those other things. Right? Like if I just do my little development projects, I'm bored and and they don't create a lot of, like you learning with Pheasant, doesn't create a lot of cash flow right now.
Yeah.
Once you moved out, it did on that one property, but that lot is just draining from you. You have to maintain it. It's overgrown. You've got property taxes. You got the architect, you've got intake fees. And so you need some type of subsidy to go along with it, or you just have a crap ton of cash, which we've already discovered that you don't have.
Yeah.
So, build on those relationships and be a quarterback. That's what I see as a developer who is a quarterback, really kind of like what I do. You just got to get really good at what you do, learn more things, make more mistakes, get more experience. And 10 years from now, when you're 33, now you've got a $50 million portfolio, and now you're however many private lenders you have now, that capital is 10x because that has just doubled, right? And so and you've made them more money, so now they want to invest more money with you. And so if you look at it from that track record of who do I want to be in 10 years, which is great, you already kind of talked about that, and then reverse engineer it. And I kind of feel for Chad right now because you're probably not going to be employed for very long, right? So maybe start from the business side. How do you work with your dad to find a replacement for you, but you're still involved and still have like some kind of stake in the game? Because you don't want to just give up on your job.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm struggling with.
Okay.
Is I love my job and I love working for the company, but it's not what I want to do forever.
Right.
And so I don't know how to make that transition. I don't think he'll have a problem replacing me,
Yeah.
but it's still like a weird process to go through.
Have you started that conversation?
Yeah, he's aware
Okay.
that I don't want to do it forever.
Does he care?
I don't think so.
Okay. Is it in his vision for you to take over the company?
It was when he started it,
Okay.
and I've kind of voiced my opinion that I don't want to do that.
Okay.
And hopefully by then I don't have to do that. It's like my thought process is like I want to be in a place where I don't have to take over that company for my income.
I see what you're saying. Is there any friction?
Because he's pretty young.
Yeah.
He's 43 years old. So by the
Yeah.
time that he's ready to retire,
He's
he's
younger than
never
I am,
actually going to
yeah.
retire, that like
Yeah.
hopefully by then I have my own stuff I'm doing that I don't have to take over the company.
Yeah, you're gonna be like 70 when he retires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll never stop working.
No,
So
no, that's not in his.
Oh, good. So there's no friction there as far as
not really.
this is the family business, and
And if
you're-
he ever want to get out of it, I feel like he could just sell it at some
Yeah.
point.
yeah, okay, cool. So that's just a job.
Yeah.
That's all it is a job.
Yep.
Okay. And do you have a goal on when you want to replace that W-2 job?
In the next couple of years.
Okay. How do you do that? Like, how do you define what do you need in your life to feel comfortable quitting
Wait,
your job?
go back. You want to do it within the next couple years or sooner?
Well, sooner, but
You gotta give him all the information for good coaching, dude.
yeah, I guess I want to do it as soon as possible, but
Okay.
I'm not gonna set myself up for failure by just saying, well, I don't want to do this anymore, so I'm gonna quit
Right.
and go do my own thing.
Yeah.
and then-
So okay. So
hold
you
myself
want to be
back.
on the fast track to quit your job and being a full-time real estate entrepreneur.
correct.
So what do you feel like you need to be able to make that happen? What's that safety net? So you
In
don't,
terms of dollars,
whatever it is, like sometimes
I think
it's
it's
dollars.
money.
It should be opportunities. It is
Yeah,
money. So
I
you want
think-
money in the bank account, like 1 year's worth of salary. Would that make you feel good to quit?
Probably not.
2
Probably
years
like
of salary.
Probably like 2. Yeah.
2 years of salary. So you got to stack 2 years of salary in cash for you to feel comfortable quitting your job.
Yeah, but also have enough money to where if I want to go buy a property, I can go
Okay.
buy a property.
So 2 years of salary
Dane's
and
shaking
skin
his
in the
head.
game. Dane's shaking his
It's
head.
a never-ending problem. This
Yeah.
is what hits. I mean, this is where Gabe's at. This is where Trevor and I at. This is where every like real estate investor entrepreneur ends up.
Mhm.
Is that you figure out that you like when you get hooked on buying deals, you're never gonna have money in your bank.
Mhm.
You find a place to spend it, and it's not that like you're gonna have money in your bank, but not relative to your portfolio size. And so Gabe has way more liquid than Trevor and I do, but he still feels like he doesn't have quote unquote enough. Like
Mhm.
he couldn't quit
He's
doing
doing
his
bigger
day.
deals. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
Yep.
just it just
Yep.
scales up. And so I don't think it's as much like finding a way to quit your W-2. I mean, it is and it isn't, because you still are going to need a job that is creating that income. And so it's just replacing that job with
Yeah.
something that you can see yourself doing forever.
Yeah, so like how you guys are brokers,
Mhm.
right? That's your income, right?
Mhm.
And obviously, I'm expecting to be broke for a long time because I want to buy more real estate, but I still need some sort of income, and it's trying to figure out what I do to achieve that income that I want.
Yeah. So what you're realizing, or what Dane's getting at, is you think that you need 200 grand in cash in the bank, but as you start getting closer to that, you're going to realize you don't.
Yeah.
And that's one specific reason why I don't use the word money, and I typically don't use the word cash, I use the word resources.
Yeah.
Because it's a reframing of the mind of resources. And then how do you allocate resources? And that's then why we use the word magnet. Okay, well, if you don't want to use your own cash because you don't want to save up this amount, you don't want to flip 6 houses to make this profit and yada, 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 well, then you need to create a magnet. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And so then how do you start creating those magnets?
Create relationships.
Well, opportunities.
Yeah.
Right. So you already have relationships. You got that part down.
Yeah.
Now you need the opportunities, right? So you don't have the magnet. The relationships are the magnetivity, right? So that's electricity. You need the magnet to then go magnetize it. So it's just finding the right opportunity, which is great because you got a deal. It's done. You're at a point. You got to go buy another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's just go get focused on what you want to buy.
What's yours, Mike? How do you do it? You're saying he's your what did they call it? Protege. Thank you, Trevor. Wow.
Matching skill sets.
Yeah.
Well, how I do it is different than how he's going to do it.
How
'Cause
you
I've
do
got
what?
10
Make
years
your
of-
money every day, or how you
Take action to go get the opportunity, right? So I've got 12 years of momentum behind me. So how I'm going to go get my next deal is different than how you're going to go and get your next deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to rely on my systems in place to then just bring the next deal to my plate. So your systems in place right now to get your deals are these 2 guys. Well, 1.5 guys.
I'm not that short.
I didn't say your name.
You just
Dane,
walk the
so your mom
properties
can't
with
get
me.
mad at me.
Yeah, I walk all the properties.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So that's what I would focus on expanding upon. If they're not bringing you the deal, either get Trevor more clear on what you need so he can bring you that deal, or you go focus on finding that next deal. And so what I would probably do is work with Trevor because he's really good at what he does. So you get clear for him so he can be a better tool for you like he used to be, right? Not what I'm hearing is you're not serving him as well as you used to because
We could sell him unlimited amount of deals right now. I think his big thing that he's trying to figure out is the income portion of how do you transition to like this more full time in the real estate space.
yeah, it's not going to be cash flow. Like here, that's the thing. You don't want to go to another market to get enough cash flow to make a difference. And you're not going to get enough cash flow to make a difference here without significant resources. So you need to flip houses. You need to create equity.
So I
Yeah,
think he
that was-
doesn't do flipping houses. I think the development plays of building houses for clients / himself. And now he can pick and choose some. He can hold one every once in a while. He can sell some off every once in a while. He has the capital resources, all the tools he needs. He can go buy a lot. He can build on it and he can sell that thing and have whatever you're going to make on it.
Yeah, fee building would be an amazing just like way to separate. It's creating another job, but that's a job that's going to go even closer to what you ultimately want to become. The nice thing there is now you have separation of entities. That's just good from an ownership standpoint, from an insurance standpoint, from a liability protection standpoint, but even better from a deal structure standpoint, right? So now you're bringing an actual GC crew. You've got actual costs. So now that value is quantifiable in a partnership because it's a professional value you're bringing. And so now you're bringing GC fees that either get included as equity or they get paid out as cash flow. And it's even when you get into the construction side, and you're about to find this when you start working with the bank, is because you're your own GC, you can manipulate your budgets to manipulate your loan to then manipulate your cash flow, how you manage the cash flow to the end of the project as well. So you may get a $1.4 million loan, but you may only take 1.2 on it, right? Because you'd rather have equity than income. So it's a whole nother skill set. And if that's truly what you want to do, and this is where, like, I don't know that I go all in and build 5 houses at once. That's a way to fail catastrophically.
Yeah.
But get through the process. The hard part, like how pheasant may not be soon enough on the timeline, just based on the complicated kind of approval process you have to go through. So maybe you go look at another type of project that you can build on, or maybe you go talk to someone right now about fee building.
Yeah.
The nice thing is you can go build a house in like 4 months.
Yeah.
Be licensed, company up and running, and you can go contract it out. So I think that's a great future self vision of or portion of what you want to do, as long as you want to do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that. It'd be pretty fun, especially if I got to pick and choose what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to learn more about building in the residential side. So,
Well, I would say this.
plus.
It's probably easier for you to go start a GC company, your own building company, go get past the test, take the few classes you need, pass the test, get your own GC license, get the company up and running, and go land a job that's going to pay you $5,000 a month to build out a spec home than it is any other way to go get that type of income.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. And so, you can bring that to your investing standpoint, but now it's a whole different task to replace your income.
You're saying he pays himself through his own GC company?
No,
and
I'm
then-
saying you go fee build for someone, or $40,000 to go build it, and they pay you $5,000 a month for 8 months to finish the project. Now you just replaced a good portion of your.
Do you think the transition of that is you part-time your same job while you go start that, or do you jump
You do
all
it
in?
both, like 40 hours a week. You can work 80 hours a week. Why not?
Yeah.
You do spend 7 hours a day on TikTok, so
Yeah. So you can just work hard. So just like, or you take a risk, right? So how fast do you want to go? If you want to go fast, then you need to work on faster time frames, which means you need to be trading more time towards your future self.
Yeah.
And so if the future self is, I am a builder, I have this building company, well, then start taking the steps to do that right now. And that's not, you do this, not hard. You can fall asleep taking the tests.
What about building just to sell on the market? Not fee building.
Well, I am a big fan of that. Again, it's a longer timeline to capital. So like flipping a home, especially if you're flipping a home that's like 50 years old or less, because it's even less complicated, is a faster way, and ideally even something like you can make. We do these little pops where you can make 50, 60 grand a pop, where just 6-week construction, because it's livable, it's slightly discounted, it's not a huge fixture. So you can look at those as well. I think you really, again, now start focus on, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to remodel a home, or do you want to work with architects and subs? Does that make sense? Like, what would you prefer to do? They're going to have varying timelines. You can measure your resources based on, if I do this, this is my path to success. If I do this, this is my path to success. Financially related, it's all going to be based on timelines and different net worths and cash flows and whatnot. But ultimately, what do you want to do, and how are you going to be happy?
Yeah, I think a mix of a lot of that would make me happy. Like if I was flipping a house here, building a duplex to sell here,
Yeah.
building the fourplex for myself over here.
Yeah, then I wouldn't let Trevor's projection of being a contractor sidetrack you from that. I go buy flip. Because that's just simple. It's easy. A house that you can then go make money on. Because what does that do? It creates a lump sum of cash. Lump sum of cash gets you closer to what you ultimately want to be, which is self-employed.
Yep.
Right? You want to be self-employed.
Yeah.
So flipping's the easiest and fastest way to do there. But I would try and find a flip where you could make 20, 30 grand and get a lot off of it. So now you're feeding that future self at the same time.
Yeah.
You're not stacking 60 or 80. You're stacking 20 or 30 and have a free lot. And you're probably taking that 20 or 30 and putting it into the project.
Yeah.
Right? And then flip another house you're going to make 50 on, and then pocket that. So now you have 2 projects. They take 15 hours of your time a week, if that. It's not, you still have plenty of time to golf, time to hang out with Trevor.
That's very important.
Yeah.
So Mike, if you were going to do that in Salem, you personally right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as competitive as Portland, maybe.
But I'm still,
But it's
sure,
still hard
competitive,
to, I mean, it's not super easy to find. If those margins were everywhere, more people would be doing it. And so it shouldn't be discounted, the difficulty to find those deals. And you already have the network that can get you closer to it, but you have all the systems built out. We're saying you should do those deals and find those flips is awesome. And he should do that. I agree with that. I pushed him away from an on-market perspective, but it's not to say that there aren't off-market deals where it makes a lot of sense. I just think if something hits the market, there's 10 wholesalers have called it already. And if it were going to be a wholesale type deal, it already would have been sold.
Yeah. Right.
And so from your perspective, if you're doing it in Salem, if you're him or if you're you, how do you do that right now?
Yeah. Identify the owners yourself.
Yeah.
Create your criteria list, identify them, and contact them yourself.
Yeah.
There's no other way to do it. You can hire someone to contact them for you. But the contact needs to be made without it going through a broker. So you control the conversation. And that's the other thing is now the type of the type of projects you want to do, controlling the conversation with them is even way more valuable. Like, just in a state that went through probate that has a fixer they need to sell, very simple, unified conversation. But a complicated land project, controlling that conversation brings so much more value from the beginning. So, create an acquisition arm, and that'll be you probably for the beginning of it, and start taking those steps. Even if it's just like, hey, walk through your neighborhood, identify some houses on big lots, go get Property Radar or whatever, some app, identify those properties, and just like send them a letter. Just type out a letter, send them a letter.
Yeah.
Just start taking those steps and seeing where that will go to you. I would do it more. I mean, I would even kind of talk to the neighbors and try and talk to the homeowner and those types of things, but just get a little proactive on it. And you're going to find what you like, right? You're going to be like, oh, fuck, I hate cold calling. You're like, dude, I really like calling these little dudes. They're codgy. Because they are, they're aggressive. They tell you what they think. It's like a throwback to talking to someone who's born in the 50s that is, nothing like us because they grew up in a completely different time. So there's an entertaining piece of it that you may enjoy.
Yeah.
Like I hate working with wholesalers. Why? Because they don't have anything fucking real to talk about. So it's like, you're a waste of my fucking time because you have no actual control. You think you do, but it's a 2-week fucking contract that's getting shopped to everyone. So they're just wasting my time.
Yeah.
Right? I don't like to deal with them, but I like dealing with old coy codgers or people that are like really financially free because they own real estate and they, that's what I enjoy. So when you start taking those actions, you'll start finding out what you enjoy, and then you double down on those and the actions you don't like, and then you hire those out.
Yeah.
And then now you've got your action, your car's going, and then once your car's going, then you can make some more decisions. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but right now your car's just parked, it's parked on the side of the road because it's getting worked on.
Yeah.
Well, it's in neutral, and Trevor's.
It's in neutral. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trevor's pushing it.
Yeah.
He's getting his 20 miles in the day.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully that helped.
What did that tell you? So after all that, what does that make you want to do?
I just need to take action.
But you had a problem early on you were talking to me about is if you don't have the clear plan or vision, you just don't want to take any action.
Yeah, so I need to pick one of those things and focus on that and take action on that one thing instead of trying to do multiple. Yeah.
Has anyone told you that before?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
He just thought of that. That was an original thought out of.
You have to hear something 3 times before you learn it.
Oh, no, I agree. I'm the same way.
I was gonna say Trevor's at like 15. Yeah.
I like to do this with Dane.
Oh my
Dane will tell me something, and I'll subconsciously think about it for like 30 to 60 days, and then I'll come up with the same idea and think it's my own.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Amazing.
How often that happens.
Yeah.
And it's only really funny because I know it's not on purpose. I know that it's not. It's happened so many times. Well, I'll tell him that this happened with. I told him that I was gonna start cold calling again, and then probably 30 days later, we were in a meeting and he was like, "You need to start cold calling," and I was like, "Yeah, I know," and he was like, "Well, no, but I really think you should." I was like,
with conviction.
As though it was something I would. I was
it
like,
wasn't
no.
supporting
I
your statement.
said
It
that-
was, I've created this idea and you need to do it, and you're not doing it.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I agree. Yeah,
That's solid leadership
Well, good.
skills.
We're on the same page then. I was like, okay, cool.
So what do you do with that? How do you take your steps forward? Because I've told you like you need to get a GC license. What do you do with all that?
Well, I guess I need to sit down and look at each plan and what best fits what I want to do, whether that be flipping or going and building a duplex and selling it, or I mean, there's a bunch of different options. That's the cool thing about real estate, I guess, is why I like it, is because you can go down different avenues. So I need to sit down and probably do a deep dive into my own personal thoughts, figure out what I want to do, come up with a plan, and start executing.
Thinking chair.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Cool. Well, I'm inspired by what you're doing. I love it. Super cool to see someone your age buying that many deals and still feel like they're going slow, though you're going faster than anyone I know or any of us even. But so I'm inspired by it. Good job.
Thanks.
Even though I don't tell you that ever.
Appreciate it.
Wow, that's heartwarming. All right, good deal.
So yeah, I hope you guys learned. We wanted to bring Jaryn on to show you guys, hey, it doesn't matter what age you are. You all have different resources. He had a skill set of construction. You probably don't have that, but you have another skill set that you're not taking care of. And just show you guys you can buy deals at any age and you can do them all sorts of different ways. So thanks for listening. Share the episode with a friend. Gabe, we love you if you're listening. Talk to you later.
See you next time.